Qantas says it has cleared a backlog of tens of thousands of passengers stranded around the world and is now negotiating with at least one of the unions. The political fallout shows no sign of easing, though. Tony Abbott has denied he was given any prior warning by Qantas about the decision to ground its fleet on Saturday. Labor is accusing the opposition leader of a cover-up, suggesting Mr Abbott knew more about the decision than he's letting on.
National icon.
Yesterday, the political heat was on the government, with the opposition accusing the Prime Minister of mishandling the Qantas dispute. Today, the tables turned, with Labor demanding answers from Tony Abbott.
Was Mr Abbott, his office or his front bench advised that Qantas intended to lock out its workforce or ground its fleet before last Saturday? If so, when was Mr Abbott advised?
In a news conference earlier in the day, Mr Abbott told reporters he'd first heard of the grounding on Saturday afternoon.
My office was first informed about 4:15, and I heard about just before 5 o'clock.
But when asked if he was warned before Saturday, he sidestepped the question twice and then ended the news conference.
Yeah, thanks very much.
There's an interest rate cut today.
He's now engaged in a cover-up of that. I'd say to the Leader of the Opposition, it's time he came clean with the Australian public. Tens of thousands of members of the Australian public who were stranded would be interested to know what the Leader of the Opposition knew and when he knew it.
Later in Parliament, Mr Abbott insisted he was in the dark about the decision to ground the fleet until Saturday afternoon.
The first I heard about it was at about 4:45 on Saturday afternoon. If I had prior notice of what Qantas was intending, I would hardly have booked myself and my family on Qantas the following day.
The government insists it had no warning from Qantas that grounding the fleet was even an option until just a few hours before Alan Joyce made the announcement on Saturday afternoon. But a statement from the Qantas CEO, Alan Joyce, says he did make it very clear Qantas could ground the entire airline and that this was a real possibility and it could happen at very short notice with immediate effect.
It is utterly inconceivable that any previous Prime Minister, hearing the news that she got at 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, would have just sat passive while this crisis developed.
Qantas says it wouldn't have ground the fleet if the government had intervened by using its special powers in Section 431 of the Fair Work Act. But the Prime Minister claims that would only have led to more uncertainty.
The use of that ministerial declaration could then have triggered long-running court cases which would have taken us into unknown legal terrain because it hasn't been used before.
The planes are back in the air, but this is a political debate that's likely to dominate Parliament for at least the rest of the week. Ashley Gillen, Sky News.